Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, August 20th, 2021. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Seeing a little bit of some mixed signals here this morning, so let's get after it, right? So a little bit of a gap down here on the SPY, right? Still kind of holding above that 436 area, but sold off from that 440 kind of move that we showed yesterday. Right, one thing I kind of do like today maybe is SPY as this BB breakout, right? So if we're able to get that strength to come back, right, and give us that kind of rip over that 442 on this strong volume, right, open outside, close inside, you're anticipating a reversion back towards that mean. So if we can get over that 442 area, I think we can start climbing up about $1 at a time. Right, to the downside, if we get breaks under that 436, right, that still looks interesting. But we're sort of stuck in literal no man's land here, right? Close yesterday was, call it 440, right? Low that we're trying to get under is 436. And at the moment, right, we're kind of splitting hairs here in the middle at 438 pre-market. So not really like much to do there, right? This might be just an indication that, hey, day to sit on hands, right? Similar story here on QQQ, although QQQ showing a little bit more relative strength. Pre-market and more relative weakness sort of after yesterday's close, right? Still holding that 360 shelf, and that still needs to go. We can get breakouts over that 370, right? That looks interesting. But in between this 370 and 360, there's nothing for me here to trade until we get a breakdown under or a breakout over. Okay, so Apple, right? Bias is definitely to the downside here. Yesterday's candle, right? Decently strong volume, at least well above average. But it really looks like sellers, not that they've regained control, right, but that they're pushing buyers down. So there's still a bit of a toss-up, right, who's going to win this battle, right, who's going to win this tug of war. I think to the short term, at least my bias is to the downside right after yesterday's candle action, right, failed breakdown, really strong volume, right, low vol pullback, you want to look at that, or kind of just like a bearish bullish candle, right. So if we can get breakdowns under that 144, then I think we can go towards that 143, right? And then that 142.50, 141.70 areas. So I think there's a little bit of potential to the downside there. But with something like this Apple, right, need to make sure that we're following the market and not forcing this, not forcing puts here when the market's going up. Okay, Tesla, right? Tesla had its AI day where Elon Musk unveiled they're going to bring out some new robot or something like that. I mean, I don't really care about that news headline. I think that's it's clickbaity, maybe is a nice way of putting it. Let's see how we react to there, right? We kind of know that we're still sort of in nowhere here, right? No man's land as well, right? On something like this Tesla, where we're waiting for a breakout kind of over the 730, right? Or a breakdown here now under this 650 zone. So let it kind of figure out what it wants to do inside this wedge, right? The longer it consolidates, the tighter it becomes, right? The bigger that pop's going to be. So let's see if this thing will continue to hold up. But for now, it seems to have bounced off of that 650 with some conviction. Let's see if that move can hold for eventually another retest of that 730 zone, right? Microsoft, really, really strong day yesterday after a big gap down, huge reversal, right? Incredible action all day long. So what we want to see here now going forward, right, is that breakout over this 297.50 area, right? That's going to be the zone we're looking to get breakouts up and over, and we don't want to fight the market here, right? So still playing this ascending wedge breakout. Yesterday came, gave us that rip again up and over that three green soldiers, and now we're looking for continuation moves over that 297.50. I love the relative strength here, right? Huge engulfing day on volume, right? Bullish engulfing candle on this pattern breakout. So this looks really strong. No real breakdown here this AM, which I like to see. So if the market goes green, right, Microsoft should lead the charge, and this could be a really interesting play for us, right? If things do go red, right, we do have a couple setups. Still like this AMD bear flag, right? Here's your flagpole, your flag, and then now you're getting your breakdown. Yesterday's action, you can kind of look at this as a low vol pullback. So though we got a little bit of a head fake, it was kind of not one we tried to trade, right? Because it opened down kind of under our entry target. So we weren't super interested in chasing that down. right, at that point. But today, right, if we get that weakness in the market, weakness comes in, then we should be able to fade this under that 101.80 towards that 100, right, 98.90, $96 areas. So lots of potential with this AMD. Still continues being a highly traded name. So this thing could be a lot of fun over the next couple. Right, this snow, it's going to be dependent on kind of the general market as well here, right? Looks to be testing its shelf here. It's 268 shelf. Get a breakdown under, right? You've got room towards that 260 area with relative ease, I would think. So I'd like to see if that can come together here, right? Really big gap down going into earnings on August 25th, right? So this is a half size move going into earnings, right? I don't want to go, big size in anticipation of this positioning event or anything like that, right? I take a stab. If it goes, it goes. You'll get paid out big. If it doesn't, you took a shot, managed the risk, and you moved on to have another day. So I think this looks good if we can get that breakdown under that 268 by that half size, right? Disney still looking for a clean 3 red soldiers continuation breakdown. Right, we're trying to come up on this trend line as well. So if we lose this trend line, plus this sort of failed breakout, 3 red soldiers, right, there's a lot of weakness there. I like breakdowns under that 171 area towards 170, and this thing's going to move like a buck at a time. So once you break that 170, right, expect resistance every dollar down. And again, right, I think this is a good half-size play. We've tested this trend line a few times here now. Hasn't really been able to break down. So I want to be a little bit patient with it, right? If it's going to move, it's going to move a lot. You're going to get paid off, so you don't need to take crazy size here to get that reward you're looking for. Right, SQ, looking at this inside bar breakdown from August 17th, right? Gave us that fake out, right, to the upside on Wednesday. Right, and then indecisive, kind of no man's land day on Thursday. So we're looking for breakdowns under this 253.95. Right, for a move down towards that 250 area. I like this setup a lot if we can get this to open kind of how it is and then break down under that 254. Right, Amazon looking like a bit like a 3 red soldiers. Right, I'd like to have seen maybe this be a more of a full body candle. Right, so if we go right second most bearish, I would maybe like to have seen it been most bearish if I was being super picky. But if we can get breakdowns under that 3168. Right, I think that's got a lot of weakness towards that 3130, right, and then maybe that 3100 mark. So I think this has got a lot of relative weakness to the downside if it can go. Certainly looks like it's lost its trend line now, right? I think we can maybe make that argument with some conviction, right? And let's see how it's going to hold up here, right? With something like this, Amazon strike levels are going to be a big deal, right? So every 3100, 3200, 3300. Right, those are all going to be big levels, and I don't want to anticipate like a flush through them, right? So if this thing does go, I'm probably going to try to cap this move down right at that 3100 and kind of see, kind of reevaluate from there, if that makes sense. All right, so this is Bank of America, another one of those that's showing us signs of weakness, right? So we're kind of talking about with that SPY, right, how we're showing kind of no man's land here, right, where you're getting that, okay, breakouts over that 442 is kind of what we want this morning, right, for that bull case, right, bear case, we want that breakdown under that 436, but we're kind of in the middle, right, here we got a nice strong bullish setup on something like this Microsoft, but then something like this Apple maybe looks more weak than strong, right, and then even a different sector here, right, now financials maybe look a little bit weaker, so we're getting kind of mixed signals, right, so maybe that screams another chop day in these indexes where even you're not getting like, just bearish setups across the board, right? You're not just getting bullish setups across the board, or you're not just seeing indecision across the board. You're seeing one setup bullish, one setup bearish, one setup bullish, one setup bearish, and the market doesn't know what it wants to do. The underlying names in the markets are kind of picking and choosing and don't know what to do. So maybe that's your sign of kind of that continued weakness. For me on this back, right, looking for breakdowns and holds under that 39.95 area, right? We'll see how this thing gaps down, but it's got room down towards that 39.50, and then fill that gap down towards that $39 mark, right? Docu very similar to this SQ, right? We're looking for that inside bar breakdown. under this resistance area, right? DocU looks really similar where maybe this is starting to look like you can make the argument this is a bit of a bull flag now, right? So we're starting to get that inside bar consolidation, right? Failed breakouts. So it looks like this is definitely weaker than it is strong. Right? I like moves under that 279.50 area, right? Maybe you can go a little bit higher. Let's go call it moves under that 280 area, right? For down towards that 277.65, then that 274, and then eventually that 270. Okay, mRNA, right? Failed reversion breakout, right? So failed breakout here, sell, 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 bear flag, okay. Bear flag trigger, but then fake out to the downside with the hammer, right? Bullish engulfing, failed breakout there, and now we're breaking back down. So if we get moves, I know it's crazy explanation, right? But if we get moves down now under this like 350, 750, right? That opens the door up for a move towards that 350, right? Then you're going to go towards that 340, 334, right? So it's got a lot of room down. If this mRNA breaks down under that 357, I'm happy to play this, but probably at half size by default, right? And then you still need to put in your, right, your own little personality to it, right? So you have to figure out outside of this how you want to manage your risk, right, based on a million different factors, right? And then last but not least, a swing play that I find really, really interesting here. This iShares Gold Trust shares of the iShares Gold Trust is a little bit of a fund of a fund. So I might see if I can find a nicer kind of contract or nicer kind of idea to play this with. But this bull flag in gold, right, into a time of period where the market's giving us a little bit of chop, I think maybe is an interesting way of still staying in the action without maybe dealing with the stuff that has been coming up and biting us in the ass. So if I can find an interesting way of playing this, maybe I'll even look to play this like with the commons if I can't find a nice name to play kind of this gold move with. And maybe that'll be like a minor I'm looking for. Maybe there'll be an alternative gold contract. Maybe just something like that, right? So I still want to kind of figure out how I want to look at this. But I think this is a really interesting idea for a possible kind of like 1 month swing, right? Something like that. And I might even be interested in playing this with common shares, depending on the general volume, right? What kind of volume we're getting here. So I think this looks really interesting. There's been a lot of volume traded in this name over, say, the last week or so. So I think this is going to be a reasonable play. But this IAU is, I think, a really cool looking idea and something I might look to take advantage of. We can get that breakout over that 31.15. So that's kind of what I'm looking at this morning, everyone. Right, in general today, right, my goal for today is capital preservation, right? So I'm going to manage my positions with that in mind. I'm still green on the week, right? Monday's Tesla win was almost 100% on a full-size play, and that was an exhilarating start to the week. But since then, right, it's been choppy, painful, choppy, flat, and so I'd like to. I just want to make sure that I finish the week green, and I don't give anything away. So I'm going to be sizing down to kind of make sure that does happen, right? What's also important here is that the market's been choppy, the market's been gross all week long, right? So don't get yourself stuck in some daily expiration, option in a snow or an AMD, right? If I find any setups today, I'm playing everything next week's calls, or maybe even longer, right? Because just give yourself an extra chance to win today, right? You don't need to take that stab at something with extra huge risk. So I'm not going to be participating in like a Lotto Friday action today. I just don't think the market's going to reward that kind of behavior. So if I do find any moves, right, by default, it's going to be next week's calls and puts. So that's kind of what I'm looking at today, guys. That's sort of what I'm after. I'm hopeful that we get a little bit of that indecision that we were talking about for it to sort of figure out what it wants to do. and for, either bullish or bearish setups kind of getting validated, and we kind of get that theme. I don't want to see the market breaking down and Microsoft breaking out, or AMD breaking down and Microsoft breaking out. So I want to see things to kind of move in the same direction here today. I think that's going to be extremely important for us, right? So that's it. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want. So best of luck out there today, everyone. Happy hunting, and hope you guys crush it. For those of you who want to trade with me all day long, right? DTR is still free for the rest of August. So come check us out. Come have a good time. Come learn something new. And yeah, that's it. So best of luck out there, guys. Happy hunting. See you all in the daily trade room after this. Peace.